I have a practice in coaching for more than 20 years, so I see a lot of people in changing their lives and also in being in all sorts of processes. So I started to think like 15, 16 years ago, well, there's so much going on, there's so much people that are changing, maybe the whole planet is changing, maybe there's something bigger going on. And then I had this question, and then well, if you have a good question, the universe will answer you, and in my case, it was with a book called The Mayan Factor from Jose Arguelles. And he was describing with Mayan calendars. I mean, the Mayans had 17 calendars. They even had calendars that go back more than a few billions of years ago. So they did not only have their calendars to know how to harvest their crops, or I mean, there was more going on. And there was a large cycle that started more than 5,000 years ago, and that would end in 2012. And it was said that in the years before 2012, we would all get so materialistic that that the whole system would collapse and it would transform into something new. And I thought, that is interesting. So I went to Mexico, you know, the Maya land, in Guatemala. I met a lot of people there, and I discovered that everything that was written about it was in English or Spanish. And I came home and I thought, I have to write about this in Dutch. And that's how it all started. And then people asked me for a radio interview and to give lectures, etc., etc., etc. And now in my country, in the Netherlands, I'm seen as a 2012 specialist. I mean, that's how they announce me on television and radio, etc. And I think it's okay, because if there's publicity around it, because for me, I learned a lot about from the Mayan calendars. I think time is not something that only goes in a linear way. It goes in cycles, smaller and big ones. And I think there's a big one ending and a new one coming up. And well, it has to do with the raising of our consciousness. And I think you cannot understand the things that are going on this planet at this moment if you don't see our planet as a small unit in a big cosmos. I mean, there's something cosmic going on, something in our galaxy. And that's why I like to show people, you know, our beautiful planet. I mean, it's I always tell my audience, you don't have to be here, but you've chosen for this planet, please help her now. And that's not what we're doing. Yeah. And I learned a lot about indigenous people, I mean so-called indigenous people, because I see them as the keepers of the earth. And they know everything about the stones and the plants, and they have a spiritual contact with the planet, and they consider our planet as a living being, like I do. I mean, it's not pure, it's not only matter we're living in, that it's alive. And it's changing, and because it has a consciousness, I think Mother Earth is changing, is raising her consciousness, and it's up to us, you know, to speak about it, to give it words, and help her with our hands. But since we lost contact with Mother Earth, I mean, if you have the Western and or Eastern urban life, I mean, you know, you don't know what a tree is or where the milk comes from. So that's why I met a lot of indigenous. I met leaders. I mean, leaders from indigenous groups, from especially from the Americas. I mean, from Central America, Mayans, Toltecs, but also Lakota. And I mean, even being in their presence helps you to go somewhere else. I mean, then you experience their thinking, and so most of my information does not only come from books though I write very technical and scientific about it, but it's actually from using my senses. I mean,
your experience.
Yeah, your experience as a human being, actually. So I usually show people how small our planet is compared to the other planets, which is quite. But if you compare it with our sun, it's a dot, and our sun isn't even a big star. I mean, there's bigger and bigger stars, and then you have these billions of stars that form a galaxy, and it's a galaxy. If you look at pictures of a galaxy, they look a bit like pictures that you see from a hurricane, you know, satellite pictures. And in the middle of it there's a so-called black hole, and science says that everything disappears into this black hole, but science doesn't like black holes because you can't apply our scientific laws at what's happening there. Actually, I think it's a source of zero-point energy, and that's also what the Mayans say. They say they're talking about Hunab Ku. Hunab Ku means the one bringer of movement and measure, which actually is the same as well, it's the source or God or whatever you want to call it, and they have a symbol for it. But the symbol for Hunab Ku is also the same symbol for the heart of the galaxy. I mean, they say like everything comes from this heart. Not only the movement and the direction and of all the stars and planets, but also even the molecules in our body come from there. And there is something going on with our position in this galaxy. I think, in my view, the galaxy is a living organism, which has consciousness and which has DNA all over the place, and it's a living, self-conscious creature that creates life everywhere in its system. And I think we are sort of stuck in a zone of this galaxy for an experiment called this is a free will zone. It's like you're here in the name of God in order to deny him. I mean, you have free will.
Right.
You can deny that there is a source if you want to, and you can play with everything a source has created, even with denying that there is a source. I mean that. And in Hopi tradition, they say that this experiment is ending now, because it was an experiment. It was about how far can you go with splitting up creation. And we humans did quite well, because we even split atoms and DNA. I mean, and then you go actually beyond what was supposed to happen. I think it's not strange that around 1945 there were all these UFO sightings. You know, there were all these UFOs coming in, because I think that the universe, the extraterrestrials were thinking, oh my God, now the humans do know how to split atoms, now we have to take care. I mean, they might blow up the whole universe. So it's the end of the experiment. And in Hopi tradition, they say that that we are warriors sent to Mother Earth to end this experiment in a good way. But the funny thing is, once you come here, I mean, as a spirit with a spacesuit with all these senses to experience life on this planet, your memory is deleted. So you come here and you don't know your assignment anymore. But that's part of the deal. I mean, it's like we're proving the force of love, because you wouldn't be here if you wouldn't have trust a good outcome of the whole story. I mean, that's why I'm optimistic about 2012. because on the level of your soul, I mean, you knew what would happen with you before you came here, and it's like yeah, that's why I'm optimistic. I mean, it's like what happens if you're a human being, you get to a certain bottom. I mean, if you have the experience of having the illusion of separation. So there comes a time, I mean, that you feel so lonely and desperate, and everyone has to have this experience, because then you develop inner force to reconnect with others and with the whole system again, and that's the force of love. I mean, that's you cannot stay in separation. I mean, then you die. So, but you have to find it out yourself. Actually, that source is within you, and you know this source or God from love, because that's the glue that keeps everything together. And I think the whole I mean, can you imagine, we're traveling through space with high velocity, and I think we are arriving in a different area. We are leaving this free will zone, and we're arriving in a different area, and in this area the heart of the galaxy will provide our DNA with new information, because our DNA is actually a code. It's a computer program. I mean, DNA not only tells an organism what it would look like, but also how it will experience reality. I mean, it's coded in your DNA, how not only that you're a human, but it also determines the way you would look at reality. I mean, and we're only using 5% of our DNA, and I think it'll rise to like 10%, and then we would see more than than is visible now. Okay, and then we get something new. I mean, then all the ego games will stop, because it's like living in a dream state. You cannot lie in your dreams.
That's right.
I mean, and there's no there's no VIPs, there's no very important persons in your dreams. I mean, it's only here because yeah, we lost contact with the gods, so we create gods, we create stars. We need that. We created religion because we felt homeless here. Because we know there is more. And I have this fantasy that this other world, which is now more invisible, will be more visible and tangible for us. And then automatically you get another way of coping with each other. I mean, then you see that everything is alive. You see the energies. I think we're also getting more telepathic. So then we could upload and download information. we don't need our cell phones. I mean, then it might be that, you know, using cell phones like we do now is well, it's a good exercise. You know, so later on, then you remember, oh yeah, there was something like these cell phones. Now I remember that, oh, I can do it myself. You know, I could send my thoughts to somebody else, and I mean, these are the fantasies that I have. But it will scare off a lot of people. I mean, now you can you can deny things. You could lie to yourself and others. I mean, if that's not possible, I mean, I think then people like that still want to have power or control things. Well, they have to find another planet. I think this planet is changing, and we can go with it. We can go along with it. Or else you have to go to another planet, because you don't have to be here. You wouldn't. There's no one who told you to be here. I mean, it was your free choice to be here. I mean, in this room and on this planet.
Yep.